Welcome to Acts of Awakening, a series of heartfelt conversations about the roles that we play, the masks that we wear, and the archetypes we embody. Acts of Awakening is a play place to unpack the moments in life that call us to change roles and dissolve masks, individuating us into the next version of ourselves. Together, we will explore the perspective of the cosmic play, inspiring soulful insights and a deeper understanding of the journey of becoming. Host Suri Sawyer is a certified death doula, Reiki healer, yoga guide, ancestral medicine practitioner, and multidimensional psychic. As a walking transmission, equal parts cosmic mirror, soul whisperer, and multidimensional midwife, she embodies the energy of a lucid dream. Soft yet activating, grounded yet infinite. Suri weaves shadow and light without fear. Her essence feels like plant medicine incarnate. Her presence initiates recalibration and an invitation into introspection, remembrance, and sacred revolution. Now here's your host, Suri Sawyer.
Good day, beautiful people. Good day, Mish, and good evening, Evelyn. It's really nice to see you guys here tonight. So the last 2 Wednesdays have been really interesting Wednesdays for me. Last Wednesday, I had a guest, and then a few things occurred. One of them being I found out a really good friend of mine in my small town passed away. And then I ended up coming on the show and doing emotional release that evening. And then I had a guest again for this week. And in a turn of events, she ended up getting on a plane and flying home because her mother is passing within the next couple of days. So last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago and this Wednesday, there's been a lot of contemplation of our mortality for myself and for others, and witnessing it occur around me, and really bringing forward a deep reverence for life, a deeper reverence for life, gratitude to be alive, and also the remembrance that when someone passes, all of a sudden our perspective of them can shift quite a lot, realizing, whoa, like the world is so different now because this person and their energy, their smile, their laugh, their humor, their community contributions is gone, changing the fabric of reality, how I relate to my community, how I relate to myself. And so I like to play this game. It's not really a game, but I call it a game. It's called a death gift. And it's the awareness that there are certain things that can really only be given when someone passes. Hello, Sylvie. Sylvie, I think that's correct. And hello, everyone who's joining. It's really nice to see you guys. So the game of death gift is realizing, whoa, this is something that I could really only have received in that person's absence. A couple weeks ago when my friend John passed, I was having this deep remembering of how important it is to choose wisely how we spend our time. One of my first thoughts upon getting the information was, oh man, like I kept thinking that I would call him and we would go to lunch, but I kept putting it off. And so the gift that he brought for me in the last couple of weeks is to be incredibly mindful of my time and how I spend it and the people I love and care about, and the importance of making time to spend with those people, and also to communicate the affection that we have for others. So if you guys are listening and you have lost loved ones, can you guys conjure up in your consciousness a death gift? Something that could only be gained in their passing. And I'll give you guys some time to do that. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do today. Oh, thank you, Diana, for thinking my necklace is beautiful. So today we're going to do emotional release. And this is a combination of muscle testing, intuitive and psychic reading, and even some multidimensional healing. For emotional release, what I'll be using is the muscle testing and an emotion list. So I'll tune in to someone, depending on whoever it is that hops on or says open. I'll tune into you and ask what emotions in your system are ripe and ready for release today. And it's usually between 3 and 5. Sometimes there's less, sometimes there's more. And hi, Kim Princess. Yes, so we'll go through and we'll see what's ripe for the picking. And as the emotions are coming up, you may notice physically in your body where things are tingling. And so you can kind of start to physically, for your own self, feel where the body has been trapping those emotions. The way emotions get trapped. So when we have an experience, it could be one shocking experience or one jolting experience that the system doesn't know quite how to process. So there's a bit of disassociation. So the whole self is not processing the entirety of the emotion and it grips it. And when the psyche and the spirit grip something in the mental body, everything that is in the energetic world is also in the physical world. So it'll start to manifest itself in the physical body, often in the fascial tissue, the tightening of the fascial tissue and the hardening of the fascial tissue. It often stores itself in organs. For example, the liver is generally where repressed anger is stored, while the lungs tend to be the place in the body where our repressed grief is stored. Another way that emotions can get trapped is sort of a repetitive wounding. So if there's a small betrayal between a family member and you, it's like, oh, okay, that didn't feel good. And then not too long later, there's another small betrayal. Oh, man, that didn't feel good. And then it starts to build up in the tissue. I'm sure we've all experienced how chronic stress starts to manifest itself physically. You can often find that in especially the jaw here when it gets all tight and curled up and in, and the sides of the neck and the shoulders. When we're also carrying a lot of emotional pain, not necessarily mental stress, but emotional pain, it's going to affect the lower back a lot. So if you feel a lot of discomfort in the lumbar spine, it's often an indication that the system is holding tight to some emotional content, some emotional rocks, that it doesn't know quite how to ungrip. Part of the reason that sometimes it's challenging to go in for those trapped emotions and start to release them is that if the system believed it already had the skills to process that all the way through, it probably wouldn't be holding it. So this is why we assist the body, the mind, and the spirit with a little bit of energy healing. I'm going to be using a crystal and allowing my system to be the by proxy vessel to send healing to you, because energy knows no time and space. And so wherever we choose to direct energy healing, that's inevitably where it goes. So that's the process that we'll be doing today. And if you guys have any questions about the process, I'd love to answer them. But with that being said, I will start to begin. Kim Princess says, my neck and back are always a mess. All right, Kim Princess. Kim Princess, you want to look at it, babe? Are you open to emotional release today, Kim Princess? I shall wait for you to respond. The delay is always a good time. Ooh. Yay, perfecto. All right, Kelly Ann, I'm going to come back to you in a little bit. Sciatic pain. While you're waiting for your turn, Kellyanne, if you want to start moving your body in some interesting ways, like maybe lay on the floor and pull your knees into your chest, but definitely see if you can start to somatically release it, because the somatic release helps every time with emotional and mental and energetic release. Michael Christopher, it is great to see you, my darling. Okay, Kim Princess, let us begin, darling. Oh yeah, last time I invited you guys to watch with me. Here we go. I am Suri and only Suri. I have permission to muscle test on behalf of Kim Princess. Today, on behalf of Kim Princess, there are 3 or more emotions to release today. There are 4 or more emotions to release today. There are 5 or more. Okay, so that's our no. So Kim Princess, we're going to target 4 emotions today. And I remembered to bring my journal this time. Kim Princess. All right. For Kim Princess, there is the first emotion is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1. is in column 2, is in column 3, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is between my fingers. 1, 2, 3. Emotion number 1 is the emotion embarrassed, and it's in the family of confused. When it comes to the sensation of confusion, with a lot of emotions, I prefer to look at them as states of being. So you can be in a state of liberation where the emotions that accompany that are emotions that are liberating. Likewise, you can be in a state of confusion, which is a mental, emotional, and oftentimes physical state that we drop into. And when we drop into the state of confusion, even something that made sense before suddenly doesn't make sense. And sometimes the mind will choose something that it can't figure out and just kind of hold it. And then that'll start to represent itself physically in the body. And confusion, almost always I see confusion in the lower back. Oftentimes it will even like be in the kidneys where confusion lives. So Kim Princess, you were expressing that there was lower back pain. So my perception in my mind's eye, hi Jennifer Rose, is that what we're targeting right now is right there at the sacral region underneath the belly button and affecting the lower back. You can let me know if that resonates with you. And like I said, please feel free to like lay on the floor and just do some funky movements to start to facilitate the process of releasing these emotions. All right. Motion number 2 for Kim Princess is on page 1. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember. You guys probably want to see. Here we go. Is on the left side of the page. Is in family 1. Is in column 1. Is currently between my fingers. Is between my fingers. Is between my fingers. Is 1, 2, 3. Emotion number 2 is the emotion condemning. I know we have a time delay, but if anybody has any insights on what the feeling or state of condemning is, or to be condemned, or to condemn another. My perception of the concept of being condemned is it's a bit of a punishment. It's an outcasting. Also, it feels a bit related to the concept of shame, to be condemned socially or from a family system. And what's interesting about trapped emotions is they usually work in both ways, meaning that we can feel it coming from others toward us, as well as we can experience ourselves giving it out as a safety mechanism, because most of our maladaptive behaviors are survival skills that the ego developed in order to survive our childhood experiences. All right, let's see. A judgment. Yeah, to condemn someone is to judge someone. Evelyn, thank you so much. That's beautiful. Lady Rintine, I'm not sure how to say that. Can I call you lady? Forgive me. Separation feeling. I agree. To be condemned feels like a forced separation. Okay, and Kim Princess is resonating with this. Yes, condemned, being judged, feeling judged all the time, being judged all the time. Kim Princess, if you're willing to kind of feel into your body where that's kind of residing right now, and let yourself breathe into that part of your body and let yourself move that part of the body. The third emotion for Kim Princess is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in column 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it is the emotion bitter. Maybe it's just because bitter is also associated with flavors. But as soon as I pulled this one, I felt it in my mouth, which intuitively I would create. It's like bitter words, like certain words are bitter. And it could be bitter communication. So hearing bitter words, speaking bitter words, and it leaving like a bitter taste in the mouth. And so it's really important for us, my friends. If you don't have a regular practice of this, it's kind of a funny thing, but it's really effective. So we hear a lot all day. We hear people talking, we have conversations. I'm sure we're watching shows, TV, or even being on social media. You're here right now, you're hearing me. And we're taking in all of this sound content. Some of it is pleasant and some of it is bitter. And it's really important to clean the energy centers of communication around the body and to clean out the things that are coming into our mind. So you take your hands, like you have floss that goes between your head, and you just go. Zzz, 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 zzz. If you guys want to try it with me, it's brain floss. So energetically, we're cleaning out the mind of what we may have received communication wise throughout the day, which also helps us communicate more cleanly and clearly because we're able to communicate more from our authentic, genuine inner heart self than from the collection of things that may be in our minds. All right, I hope you enjoyed your brain floss. Okay, we got a couple more for condemned. Rebecca, thank you for coming. Gary says condemned to express strong disapproval. Yeah. Thank you, Gary. All right. Kim Princess, emotion number 4. Emotion number 4 for Kim is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is in column 2, is in column 3, is between my fingers, is between my fingers. It is the emotion misgiving. Misgiving. It's essentially, you guys feel free to type in what is your perception of the concept of misgiving. My understanding, Evelyn, I'll tell you in just a moment. My understanding of misgiving is a lack of trust. Somebody offers you a piece of pie and you're like, what's your motive? Because it's difficult to bring trust forward. Let's see. Any thoughts on the emotion misgiving? That's so good. Get rid of the junk I hear all day. Yeah, Kim Princess, get rid of that junk. Brain floss on the regular. You know what would be funny if we all started doing it in public and made it a new trend? What do you guys think? Evelyn, I'm going off of several different trainings based on like muscle testing and emotional release. I kind of congealed many things into one, but definitely a lot of the influence is the emotion code. Thank you for the question. All right. So let's see if there's any emotions to replace them with. My darling Kim, thank you. Bingo. I'm glad we got it. And Kim, if you feel so inclined, once I start the actual emotional release, if you want to get up and like do one of these and shake it out the body, it not only feels good, you'll probably start laughing, but it also assists in the somatic release of whatever has been trapped. And don't be afraid to just really let your face go. I can't think of any better release system. So replacement emotions for Kim, there are 2 or more replacement emotions. There are 3 replacement emotions. Emotion 1 is on page 2, left side of the page, is in family 1, family 2, family 3, is on the screen, is between my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Replacement emotion number 1 is the emotion thankful or the state of gratitude. And emotion number 2 for Kim is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is currently on the screen, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy. Oh, it's so easy. One of my mantras in life that you can hear me shouting out every once in a while as I'm walking around the house, I'll just be like, grace and ease, baby, grace and ease. It's all just grace and ease, baby. So Kim Princess, if you want to try that one's one of my favorites. Grace and ease, baby, grace and ease. All right, Kim Princess, if you feel like shaking your sweet little body while I do your emotional release, let's get down to business. On behalf of Kim Princess, I release the trapped emotion of embarrassed from the physical body, the emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim Princess, I release the trapped emotion of embarrassed from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of embarrassed from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the physical DNA and from the cellular or from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of condemning from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of condemning from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of condemning from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of bitter from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of bitter from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of bitter from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of misgiving from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of misgiving from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kim, I release the trapped emotion of misgiving from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, and so it is. Oh, on every timeline and dimension, and so it is. We replace these emotions with the sensation and state of thankful. We replace these emotions with the state of thankful. We replace these emotions with the state and feeling and vibration of thankful. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and vibration of easy. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and frequency of easy. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and frequency of easy. Grace and ease, baby. Yoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And so it is Kim. All right, let's just double check that we've done the clearing. So Emotion 1 is clear. Emotion 2 is clear. Emotion 3 is clear. Emotion 4 is clear. We have replaced the emotions with thankful and easy. We done did it, Kim. I really do hope that you were shaking and blowing funny breaths over there. I had that in my mind, and it does make me quite happy to imagine. Gary, thank you. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Winston Churchill. Yeah. Service to others. Okay. I'm going back to Kelly Ann, are you still here? And also, are you doing some cool, weird movements on the floor over there? I hope so. Kelly Ann, if you're still here, let me know. Hi, Maggie from Canada. Thank you for being here. If you guys are open for an emotional release, Kelly's here. I'm so glad. If you guys are open for an emotional release, you can always write in that you are interested. And as we're going through the different emotions, I do love hearing how other people perceive what a word means. Because yes, there's a collective agreement about what a word means, but then each of us individually will experience the frequency of a word so differently based on our experiences. So at different points as we come across different emotions, I would love to hear your perspective or experiences on these states of being and the emotions. Hi, Amy. Okay. All right. She's got lots of love on the floor with her mom's dog. I love this for you, Kellyanne. All right. And Kelly, we're looking at some sciatic pain. I am Suri and only Suri. I have permission to muscle test on behalf of Kelly Ann. Kelly is Kelly and only Kelly. Okay. Today for Kelly, specifically regarding the sciatic pain, we would like to release emotions. So for this, there are 3 or more emotions to release today. There are 4 or more emotions to release today. So Kelly Ann, we can look at 3 today. Kelly, in your awareness of the sciatic pain, if you were just to intuitively throw a number out there, what percentage of it is mental, emotional, and emotional over physical? I'm super curious. Maggie, I'm so glad you're doing stretches. Yes, girl, keep doing stretches. For any of you, Kellyanne or Maggie, if you guys are ever interested in learning some movements specifically for some of the different pain in your body, I would love to share what I know. And I'm sure you may already have the things that you need in order to take well care of your body, a really good well care of your body. So let's go ahead and look at Kelly Ann's emotions that we can release today. Okay, the sciatic pain comes when you're sleeping. That makes sense because it's like 8 or more hours of not having movement and then you wake up pretty stiff. Kelly Ann, I'm curious if you even like 2 or 3 minutes of some kind of movement upon waking up can make such a significant difference in the mobility throughout the rest of the day. So I'm curious if you have that incorporated in your life at this moment, or if it's something that you might be interested in starting. Just 2 or 3 minutes of kind of moving the spine can make a huge difference. Emotion number 1 for Kelly Ann is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in column 1, is currently on the screen, is currently on the screen. is currently on the screen, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4. Emotion 1 that we're clearing from the sciatic pain is the emotion of jealous. Jealous. And I would love if you guys would please write in what's your perception of what the word jealous or envy mean, or if they mean the same thing or different things. And again, when we have a trapped emotion, it's something that we can feel coming from others and emit from ourselves in the direction of others. Because jealousy is a very, very hard emotion to work with because of the personalities we build, it's oftentimes that our ego or our personality construction doesn't want to see that it is experiencing jealousy, and or it may feel jealousy toward the success of someone that they really love, and they're like, that's confusing, that's a weird feeling, I don't want to feel jealous. And or jealousy coming from the outside and not knowing how to process that. So whether it's coming out or in, if our system, our personality doesn't perceive it as a useful emotion or a safe emotion to feel, then it traps it. So I wonder if you can resonate with that at all, Kelly, like that not knowing really how to be with the sensation of envy or jealousy. Yes, Maggie, moving right when you get up is good advice. I'm full of good advice over here. Okay. So emotion number 2 for Kelly is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, family 2, family 3, family 4, is currently on the screen, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, incompetent, and it's in the family of helpless. My sister is very jealous of me and I don't know why. Oh, Kelly, that's a really rough one. And unfortunately, the family constellation system breeds most of the jealousy, because when we're young siblings, our nervous systems are trained to be in competition for resource. So there may not be a logical reason as to why that feeling exists there, and it just is there. And the system does a really interesting thing where if it feels envy or jealousy, it doesn't understand why it's there necessarily. So then the mind will come up with a story as to why. But if we can even get behind the story and just say jealousy exists there, and I don't want to play in that frequency, I'd like it to lift. Kellyanne, thank you for sharing that with me. Incompetent in the family of helpless. Again, perceiving that others are incompetent or perceiving that others are finding you this way. I have dyslexia. Girl, me too. And oh my gosh, most of my life I was like, I'm so dumb. It took me a long time to get to a place where I'm like, I might be kind of smart. I wonder, Kellyanne, if you had that experience. Yeah. And so can you also feel maybe where the incompetence sits in your physical body? If you just kind of do a scan, like where am I holding that frequency in my tissue? Yeah. Kellyanne, I bet you're a genius lady. Okay, let's go on to the third emotion for Kellyanne. The third emotion for Kellyanne is on page 1. On the left side of the page is in column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, is currently on the screen, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The emotion of feeling pathetic. And also it's in the family of helpless. And this cluster of emotions, Kelly, feels really old. Jealous, incompetent, and pathetic. And this cluster of emotions, my sense is in and around the solar plexus, like right here at the bottom, that soft point between the floating ribs, which is also where the vagus nerve endings come down like a tree. And when we get stressed out, they curl up and in and limit the communication between the brain, the heart, and the stomach. So I don't know, Kelly, if it would feel good to you, but just to massage this part of your body and imagine telling your sweet, sweet, sweet vagus nerve, hey, baby, it's safe to open and expand and stretch yourself out. We're safe. We're safe. Taking nice deep breaths into the solar plexus and into the stomach to create spaciousness for who you are, for the beauty of who you be. So the emotions, they're pertaining to worth, self-worth, and esteem, the self-esteem. So my perception is that the work that we get to do today, the work that we're doing now, is sort of giving the self-esteem or the esteem a little bath so that you might see yourself so clearly as the incredible person that you are and really get to embrace all your genius, your magic, and your well-being. Kelly, I'm glad it all makes sense. So let's go ahead and get the replacement emotions. So replacement emotion number one there are 2 or more replacement emotions for Kelly. There are 3 replacement emotions for Kelly. There are 4 or more replacement emotions for Kelly. Emotion number 1 is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1. It is listening. I don't know how much of that is an emotion, but to listen, give your attention to sound. Deep listening. We can listen to ourselves. We can listen to our inner dialogue. We can listen to our inner heart knowing. We can listen to the birds. One of my favorite meditations is just to sit and listen for a long time and put most of my awareness into sound. And it's one of the most brain cleansing things that I know how to do other than flossing my mind. Replacement emotion number 2 is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is in column 2, is in column 3, is in column 4, is between my fingers, is between my fingers. It's the emotion observant. Listen and observe. Allowing the information to come in and go right into the heart of you without needing to take any action, just observing. I love listening to nature and to hear the frogs and crickets. Kelly, I also bet that you love to observe them as well and just take them in with your eyes. I really like these replacement emotions. Listen, observe. They kind of feel like very zen. All right. Emotion number 3, replacement emotion number 3 for Kelly is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, family 2, family 3, family 4, is between my fingers, is between my fingers. Attentive. It's the emotion attentive. Man, these are all really good ones. So the sense of, for you creating healthy esteem, listen, observe, be attentive. I like those a lot. All right, Kellyanne. If you want to make some weird noises and jump and shake while we do this emotional release, or just do really deep breathing and allowing your breath to help facilitate the movement of these emotions. All right. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of jealous from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of jealous from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of jealous from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of incompetent from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of incompetent from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of incompetent from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of pathetic from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Kelly, I release the trapped emotion of pathetic from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and frequency of listen. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and frequency of listening. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and frequency of listening. We replace these emotions with the state, feeling, and frequency of observe. We replace these emotions with the feeling, state, and frequency of observe. We replace these emotions with the feeling, state, and frequency of observe. We replace these emotions with the feeling, state, and frequency of observe. We replace these emotions with the feeling, state, and frequency of attentive. We replace these emotions with the feeling, state, and frequency of attentive. We replace these emotions with the feeling, state, and frequency of attentive. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. All right. We successfully released trapped emotion number 1. We successfully released trapped emotion number 2. We successfully released trapped emotion number 3. Kelly, we done did it. Boo. Thanks for helping me. And thanks for playing with me. And just some gentle reminders with trapped emotions. Yes, this is like a really viable way to release trapped emotions. But one of the easiest, most intuitive ways to release emotions from the body is just general movement. And it's interesting because the body knows exactly how it wants to and needs to move in order for a certain emotion to be released. And in order for us to access that, we have to listen and observe. So one of my favorite practices is to lay or sit very, very still for an uncomfortable amount of time while I'm listening to music. And then as I'm in stillness, I can start feeling like, wow, my neck really wants to do that, but I don't do it yet. Or I notice, oh man, like my lower back and my hips, like they want to move like that. And so I sit, observe, and I listen. And then when I feel ready and I have enough information from my body, I start to move and flow in all of the ways that it's indicating. And it can go for quite a long time because once the body starts like unwinding and releasing, you don't want to stop. It feels so good. So if you're willing, Kelly, to try that, or Kim Princess, you too, let me know how that practice goes for you. It's a really delicious one. I love this. Playing with you is the best. I love you. Kim Princess, right back at you, babe. Wow, I can see that now. Oh, yay. Okay, well, I am so glad, Kelly Ann. Listen and observe. All right. Let's see if anyone else is open. I saw some opens back here. We have time for one more. Maggie, are you still here, my darling? Hello, Belinda. Hello, Mish. Hey, Kelly Ann, thank you so much. I'll give Maggie another moment. Yes, she's here. Okay, fabulous. Maggie. All right. Yes, I'm going to do emotional release, but as soon as I tuned into your energy, there's some stuff I desire. Are you open to a little bit of multidimensional healing? I'll be using like my second sight to observe and shift things in the electromagnetic field of your system. And it very much works off of this concept that the observer effect. So anything that's being observed, whatever is observing it is affecting it. And so by using sight, my second sight, to observe your auric field, then I can essentially make requests of the electromagnetic field to reorient themselves differently. And I just want to get consent before I just enter your electromagnetic field with my mind. Okay, I'll give it a shot. Maggie, will you please let me know if this resonates with you? The place where I'm seeing like stagnant energy is here in front of the throat and in the upper chest here. Maybe something with like the thyroid being affected. And you can let me know if that resonates. The sensation is it's feeling related to the use of the voice. That's interesting. There's a lot of communication themes today in these readings. I find that when I do readings, even with my client work, there's these really strong themes throughout the week. And it seems like communication is a really big one this week and today. The sensation coming through very strong about this grief over being misunderstood, this desire to be understood, this desire to be seen, and not feeling like it is occurring the way that you would like, and that it's feeling almost like okay, beautiful. Upper respiratory is fine and thyroid is fine. Feeling this desire to be understood and a grief over not feeling understood. And it causing a sense of a feeling of like isolation because the words are having a hard time communicating, and almost like this desire to communicate beyond words, like communicate through sensation or telepathy or emotion. Just this desire of like, can't you just feel how I feel? Like I'm emanating it so loudly. If you just stopped, listened, and observed, you might notice exactly what it is that I'm trying to convey. And a sensation of almost like exhaustion at desiring to be understood. So that's what's feeling stagnant here. Yes. Okay. So please just do me a favor and breathe. I'm working on the electromagnetic like geometry in this area, because when it gets stagnant, the energy is not flowing through the networks or the circuits there. And so we're just adjusting the circuits in this communication area, both in the front and in the back. Maggie, the energy that's coming through as the stagnation is releasing. Is a sensation of, if you know what it feels like to over explain yourself. So, oh man, like I did this thing and they think that I did it for this reason, but actually I did it for this reason. And there's this feeling that if you over explain yourself, or that you find yourself over explaining yourself to others, the sensation that's coming through is, what will it take to get really comfortable with not explaining yourself anymore? This feeling of, well, I ordered pistachio ice cream because I ordered pistachio ice cream, period. And obviously that's a very simple example, but I chose not to go out tonight because I didn't want to go out tonight. That's it. Somebody calls and needs a favor, but you're not available, or you're just tired and you don't want to do it. No, I can't. No explanation required. Yeah, that's the feeling, and getting really comfortable with it. Like if you don't explain yourself to someone and they get upset about it, like that's not on you. And it's okay just to say, no, I can't make it. And just let it be super simple. Also, for when you're transitioning out of over explaining and into just simple yeses and nos, I don't need to explain why I made this choice. I don't need to explain why I said yes. I don't need to explain why I said no. I just did. Obviously, in certain conversations, you may have to explain yourself a little bit, but to the degree that your energy feels like it has been doing that, you don't have to do that anymore. And getting over the hurdle of it feeling mean at first. You're not being mean. You're just letting people know exactly, my decision is this. Have a good day. Okay. People think it's from a self-destructive cause, but it's not. The autoimmune disorder that you have, and sometimes it's reflected to you that it's because of a self-destructive tendency. Thank you for sharing that with me, Maggie. And so it sounds like maybe in those conversations, those are the ones where you feel like you're having to over-explain yourself. I can see that. So you just get to make the decisions that you make, and you do not need to over-explain them to the people around you. And yeah, that is that, my darling one. All right, let's look at a couple emotions for you. An autoimmune of the liver and the sacred place where anger is stored. Maggie, how do you relate to the feeling of anger? Anger is really difficult for a lot of us to process, especially women. I remember at an early age figuring it out that when somebody says, oh, I never get angry, that is probably the scariest person in the room. The one who genuinely believes that they don't get angry, or does such a good job of disassociating and repressing their anger that it comes out sideways in passive aggressive ways, right? And then when we do see anger or experience ourselves become the kind of angry that's like a sweeping wave, and we say and do things that we are not proud of, or we see and watch other people that we love do and say things that they are not proud of because of anger, it's a very challenging emotion sometimes to process, which is why the tissues tend to really hold on to it. I'm releasing it. I used to think it made me strong. Maggie, good job, babe. Release away. People who are say that they're never angry scare me. They scare me too. Kim Princess. The other one that really scares me is when somebody says, I just want everyone to be happy. And I'm like, that is a noble idea, my friend. But in some way, you just told me that you're going to say whatever you need to say to whoever you need to say it to so that they're happy in that moment. But then all of the things that you say contradict each other. So watch out for those ones. It was easier to be mad than sad. Ah ha ha. Girl, I said I heard that. And I don't know when the last time you had like anger screaming that turned into crying, that anger screaming crying. It's one of my favorite, most confusing emotional releases ever. And then laughing is also in there. It's like screaming and then crying and then laughing. And the body system is just releasing all of this intense emotion. And your system is, am I angry? Am I happy? Is this a hilarious joke? Like, what is this complexity of experience in my nervous system? All right. So, emotional release for Maggie. Today, there are 3 or more emotions that we can release for Maggie. Today, there are 2 emotions for Maggie. Emotion number 1 is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, family of anger, Maggie. Is in column 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers. Okay, Maggie, the first emotion that we are releasing today is revenge or revengeful. And that's funny. Something similar came up last week. And the analogy I gave was one of my favorites, which is resentment. And this idea that we're going to get revenge is like holding a hot coal in your hand, waiting to throw it at someone else, but the entire time you're only burning yourself. And revenge is also a challenging one. Like I said before, sometimes we relate to our personality as I'm not a revengeful person. But somewhere inside of us, we actually do have those ideas and tendencies toward wanting revenge. I know, Maggie, that there have been times in my life where I felt so harmed by the actions of another person that my brain was just coming up with all of the things that I could do to try to get back at them, and that it would bring me temporary relief from the pain because I like hit them back or I got them back, right? And sometimes instead of repressing that aspect of me once she's going, I sit back, listen, and observe all of her ideas. I'm like, oh, wow. Slash their tires. Yeah, that might feel good. We're not going to do that, but that's a really good idea. Oh, you want to say such and such to them? Ooh, what a stinger. It's quippy, but we're not going to do it. But I let that part of me like exhaust itself. But I also have enough self-control that I don't act on it. The problem is the person has passed. Maggie, all the better to be able to release it. All the better to be able to release it. All right. Also, revenge is interesting because let's say that something happens, someone says something to me that really upsets me and gets my emotional responses triggered and up and going. I like this analogy of like, if you're 2 years old and somebody does something that agitates your nervous system, you hit them back or you hit something. And it's that hitting that it alleviates tension in the body or in the nervous system. So to a certain degree, that 2-year-old is wise for knowing how to get the emotion out of their body. And so we celebrate it. We say, oh my God, good job knowing how to release the tension from your body. But now let's find a way that doesn't hurt anyone or anything. So still achieve that same feeling of releasing the anger, but how might you do it without directing it at another person? And then when we find those outlets like shaking or singing at the top of your lungs or jumping in place for a minute, whatever it is that supports you in being able to exercise those emotions through the body, find it and utilize it regularly. Emotion number 2 for Maggie is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the emotion violent. So these are big ones. Maggie, I'm curious where you sense it in your body, if anywhere, where the body system is holding revengeful and violent. Replacement emotions for Maggie. There are 2 or more replacement emotions. There is 1 replacement emotion. Maggie's replacement emotion is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, sympathetic, to be sympathetic. Sympathetic. Maggie, yes, question mark. Oh, I'm not sure what the question mark is for. Violent pain in abandonment. Hi, Luna. Yeah. And violent often pertains to like a shocking experience as well. So something that shocks the system. It's also important to remember that when we watch things, like when we watch movies or shows, the system, your body actually doesn't know the difference between watching a violent scene in a movie or a TV show versus reality. And in the auric field, actually, if we are consuming that kind of content, even a little bit, or especially as children, it actually puts a bunch of little holes in the aura. And the system isn't able to process it because, one, it's artificial. We're watching it. It's not actually real, but the system can't tell the difference. The nervous system can't. And so it does affect the aura, and it kind of makes it a little bit like Swiss cheese. So it's important that we're really careful with what we consume with our eyes and our ears. All right. On behalf of Maggie, breathe, shake it out. Here we go. On behalf of Maggie, I release the trapped emotion of revengeful from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions. And so it is. On behalf of Maggie, I release the trapped emotion of revengeful from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maggie, I release the trapped emotion of revengeful from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maggie, I release the trapped emotion of violent from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maggie, I release the trapped emotion of violent from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maggie, I release the trapped emotion of violent from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral lines across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. We replace these emotions with sympathetic. We replace these emotions with the feeling, frequency, and state of sympathetic. We replace these emotions with the feeling, frequency, and state of sympathetic, and so it is. And so it is, and so it is. All right, we released trapped emotion number 1. We released trapped emotion number 2. Awesome. Maggie, thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for your openness. Thank you, Kellyanne, and thank you, Kim Princess. Thank you, everyone who participated and watched. And may these emotional releases heal for each one of us who are receiving and witnessing, and also those known and unknown to us who may benefit from these same emotional releases. I'll be back in 2 weeks, my friends, and I hope you guys have a really blessed March and be so happy and well. Take good care of yourselves, and don't forget to wake up and move your body a little bit. Good night, everybody.